back to the Gaming Malta stand here at ICE 2024. I'm joined by Jonna Danlund, who is the head of sustainability for the Betsson Group. Jonna, welcome. Tell me first, Betsson won the ESG Strategy of the Year at the ERG Operator Awards last year in 2023. What would you say is the real key to success when it comes to sustainability?
Thank you for having me. Well, yes, we did. And actually, we also won the social responsibility at the Global Gaming Awards earlier this week. And we won Safe for Gaming at the International Gaming Awards. So we've had quite a strike here for when it comes to gaming awards. Well, I would say that there are three secrets to our success. First of all, buy-in from the top. I mean, when you work with ESG, it's really important to have managers that understand, top management understands the importance and the fact that it is a win-win. Our board is also very much into this subject and pushing us forward. So that's really first thing I would say. Secondly, teamwork. I always say that no woman is an island and that in a way I have 2,000 people on my team. So everybody these days, there's a sustainability angle to pretty much every role, every task. And so with that means that you can actually make a difference out there in the organization. And then thirdly, I would say resilience. Rome wasn't built in a day. This is a journey. We should be proud of what we've done, but also humble that there is more to do.
Sustainability is obviously something that every company should have on its radar, but what are the benefits to sustainability?
Well, at the end of the day, it really is a win-win. I mean, we know that our stakeholders are very interested in this topic. And by stakeholders, I mean, for example, our investors. Betsson is a listed company, and our investors always ask what we do when it comes to ESG. Our employees, present and potential, we get questions in the recruitment process, where we stand, how we work with, especially the environmental side and the social aspects of ESG.
So that caring point is really coming from the employees and future employees as well as internally within the company, you find it?
Definitely. And I think if you look at the younger generations today, I say that ESG or sustainability, it's almost in their DNA. To them, it's a hygiene factor. It's just natural that companies take responsibility, and those are the kind of companies that they want to work for. But then, I mean, also, if you think of it long term, Betsson has been around since the 60s. We celebrated our 60th anniversary last year. And you can't do that. You can't run a company year in, year out, profitably, without having a sustainable and long-term approach. It just doesn't work. So I think we're actually a testament that you have to think long term and you have to think about sustainability.
There is a new EU directive, of course, that's coming out, CSRD, which will require companies to report on sustainability in the same way to financial reporting. What do you think the impact of this new regulation is going to be? Can you walk us through that?
Well, I think it will change the landscape of reporting when it comes to, all companies, not just for our sector, but let's focus on iGaming. So what it does, it stands for Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. And so it means that if you're in the EU in any way, then you are going to have to abide by these new rules. And if you're a bigger company, you have to start reporting pretty soon. For Betsson, it's for 2024. For example, but even if you're not in scope, you may still have to sort of take this into account, because with CSRD, what happens is that companies have to report on the whole value chain. So from suppliers all the way to the end consumer, the customer, which means that even if you're a smaller company, you may be one of our suppliers. That means that we have to report on what you do. So that really gives it a whole other, it's in a whole other ballpark, if you will, because that gives it a whole, a very sort of different focus. If you are eligible to report according to CSRD, then you better start now, because it's time. But one of the first things that you need to do is that you need to do what's called a double materiality assessment. So basically, you sit down with your stakeholders and you figure out what's important to your company. And that's a really interesting exercise to do either way, because that way you find out how you impact the environment and the society around you, but also how you are impacted by them. So that means that in a way it's kind of like a risk assessment, and you assess the risks and opportunities in that, and that's a really good thing to be on top of.
Betsson is sponsoring the Consumer Protection Zone here at ICE. I know all the proceeds go to charitable organisations, which is wonderful. The panel on sustainability through the value chain that happened yesterday. Can you tell me about what are the key thoughts and key findings that came out of that panel?
Yes, I'm very happy that we're sponsoring the Consumer Protection Zone. It's a really important area to discuss, consumer protection obviously, but also broader sustainability issues. And it was an interesting panel. It was a very sort of wide area of topics, a wide range of topics that we discussed. We shared best practices, anything from internal processes, how we work with due diligence when it comes to suppliers, how we empower and engage employees, and even environmental things that we do within our companies. So it was really good. And I kind of emphasized that, again, that ESG is something that's good for the industry. And we know it's important to our stakeholders. And the good thing is that we get to do what's right, if you will, but we also benefit from it, because it means that if we're on top of ESG and sustainability, then we minimize the risk of disruptions to our operations, and we can seize any opportunities. So again, it's a win-win.
The benefits you pointed out and the upcoming regulatory demands, I mean, it's clear that sustainability is a really important topic that all of the industry should be focusing on. For a company that's just starting out, what sort of advice would you give them to start their sustainability journey successfully?
Well, first of all, to realize that it is a journey, and to start with some kind of materiality assessment. So find out what's important to you, because there's so much. It's just such a wide area. There's so much that you could do. So the important thing is obviously to start with the areas that are more the topics that are most essential. Talk to your stakeholders, talk to your customers and your employees, for example, and see what's important to them. And then steal with pride. I mean, there's already a lot of good things happening in the industry. So look at what other companies are doing and see if that's relevant for you as well. And then understand what you already have. I think if you look at the organization, there's probably a lot already going on within these areas. You may not have structured it that way, or you may not have like a streamlined process for it. But again, with the younger generations, these are important topics for them. And I'm sure there's lots of things going on. We're also a very heavily regulated industry. So a lot of it we do because there already is regulation. And then I'd say empower your people, because they are the ones who have to do it at the end of the day. So make sure that they have the competence and the sort of sustainability angle within their respective roles and tasks, and set them free. Let them run with it, you know. And I mean, last but not least, start now. Because
well, I was going to ask, do you think the regulation has come too late, or hasn't come soon enough?
I think that there has been regulation within some of this before, but now this is the first time that it's streamlined. And the whole point of that is, of course, to make it easier to compare how different companies work with this. Not just within iGaming, but across the board. So I actually think that this is a really good possibility for the industry to showcase a lot of the good things that we already do, while staying humble that there is more to be done.
Well, I think we all want industries that are going to contribute to a sustainable future. So thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having. Love.